All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jorge Tarico. I'm a TJ Alumni Class of '98 member and part of the applicant outreach team here at the TJ Alumni Action Group. We thank you so much for spending your evening with us in sharing the wonderful information that is available about this great educational opportunity that is available across all our region for students. So thank you so much. I'll begin by sharing the screen and go ahead and get started. If you have questions, please submit them towards the end. And thank you for the patience, just clicking all the little clicks. All right, just want to confirm visually. Can everyone see the big slide? All yes. Right. Welcome again to the TJHSST information session. For anyone, that's again, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology located in Alexandria, Virginia. Just to get started, we're gonna briefly just discuss that in the Zoom platform, you have the opportunity to be able to utilize interpretation services, and we are thankful for Prince William County to providing a Spanish interpreter as well as 2 American Sign Language interpreters. For the Spanish interpreter, please follow these instructions on screen to access the services. For the ASL interpreters, please look for the panelists, and they have put next to their names that they are interpreters. We have ASL interpreter Katie, and I apologize, I'm not going through. Ooh. All right. All right, so we'll go ahead to the next slide. Thanks again. I'm going to kick it off to my fellow alumni, Akshay Deverakonda.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Akshay. I graduated from TJ in 2011, and I am the co-chair of admissions for the TJ Alumni Action Group. We at TJ Alumni Action Group thank you sincerely for giving us your time this evening. The purpose of this webinar is to share information about Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology, often shortened to TJ. It is a Virginia governor's school located in Alexandria, Virginia. The perspectives we'll be sharing here tonight come from current students and alumni of TJ. We'll be discussing both the school and also its admissions process, which was revamped this year by the Fairfax County School Board. This info session is for everyone, and we are glad that each and every one of you are here. Everyone brings something different to the table at TJ, and TJ needs someone like you. Additionally, this info session is particularly centered on the experiences and questions that students and applicants of underrepresented groups at TJ may have, because we believe that every interested and qualified student should be able to see themselves at TJ. These groups include, but are in no way limited to, Black, Hispanic, and Latinx students, students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, including those identifying as white or of Asian descent, special education students, English language learners, and girls of all backgrounds. We appreciate those who have partnered with us to share this outreach opportunity. With more than 1,100 registered attendees, we could not have provided this service for our community without your support. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce our president, Makia Little.
Good evening. Thanks, Akshay. I really appreciate you for framing this event and effort by the TJ Alumni Action Group. TJAAG is a 501c4 organization founded by a team of TJ alumni seeking to enhance accessibility, inclusion, and innovation within STEM education in order to develop well-rounded and ethical 21st century leaders. Although we have been in existence since 2016, last year, we decided to formalize our group to demonstrate our commitment to our partners, our legislators, and to you, our community. As alumni, we recognize that to whom much is given, much is required to forward youth in our community have access to the same or better educational opportunities that recognize that knowledge is power. And without the awareness of educational opportunities, we leave untapped talent on the sidelines, and our community becomes deprived of the potential contributions of that talent. I'd like to take a moment to recognize my leadership team. These talented, tireless volunteers have dedicated their time, lack of sleep, and other resources to plan this event for you and your families. And I cannot overstate how proud I am of their work. They are a true demonstration of what a diverse and inclusive team can do. And they put this entire event together in barely 10 calendar days. Through our partnerships with the help of community leaders, we had more than 1,000 Northern Virginia families interested in attending tonight's event. For that reason, we have a closed chat and an open Q&A dialogue box that you can use to submit your questions. We do, however, ask that you wait until the question and answer portion at the end of the presentation, just in case your question is covered during the presentation. And with that, I'd like to briefly introduce some of our official guests who will be available at the end to help answer questions in an official capacity. Rebecca Small, specialist opportunities, Fairfax County Public Schools. She coordinates professional development for teachers and serves as the program manager for the College Board's Advanced Placement Program. Rebecca began her career in Fairfax County Public Schools in 1998 as an AP government teacher. Wendy King is the supervisor of gifted education for Loudoun County Public Schools. She is responsible for K-12 gifted programming and serves as a point of contact for programs designed for high ability high school students such as TJ, Governor's School, and advanced placement courses. Karima Wesselhoff is the supervisor of advanced academics and specialty programs and has been with Prince William County Public Schools for more than 18 years. Ms. Wesselhoff taught middle school and high school English and history and AP World History. She has also served as a specialty program coordinator and most recently was an assistant principal at Colgan High School. Ms. Wesselhoff's responsibilities include advanced academic advanced placement, international baccalaureate, Cambridge and dual enrollment courses, as well as the specialty programs Governor's School at Innovation Park and Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. Jeremy Shugart is the director of TJ Admissions and was appointed to the position in July 2013. Previously, he served as manager in the Office of Student Testing for 2 years and was a test administration specialist for more than 3 years. As a career educator, Mr. Shugart has served as a teacher, assessment coach, and school-based technology specialist in schools across the division with varied demographics, programs, strengths, and needs. And Dr. Ann Bonitatibus has served as principal of TJ since 2017. Previously, she served as superintendent of a school division in California and as an associate superintendent and chief operating officer of Frederick County Public Schools in Maryland. We are happy to have all of our official guests here with us tonight. And now I'd like to open the floor for Dr. B to provide welcoming remarks. Dr. B.
Buenas noches, buonasera. Wanshangao, konbanwa, salam, guten Abend, Susan Ye, annyeonghaseyo. Good evening. It is wonderful to welcome such a diverse community here this evening to learn about TJ. Thank you for your interest in our school and our school community. TJ inspires in all of its students a love of inquiry, leading to the betterment of humanity. And STEM is the focus for that. So any child who has an aptitude, a talent, and a deep passion for STEM belongs at TJ. You will find at TJ expert teachers who are wonderfully supportive, students who wrap their arms around each other, and we do air hugs now, And as they welcome new students to the building, we pass along storied traditions that have been in our community sometimes for decades. Also, we have a multitude of clubs, activities, and athletics, so everyone belongs somewhere. There is a place for you. I would like to thank the alumni and students and FCPS staff who are here this evening, who are all very supportive of TJ and taking this time to talk about the experiences at TJ and what we have to offer. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany G. I'm a senior and vice president of the student body. This is just a quick video of why TJ is so great, made by our student body vice president, Sean Nguyen.
So at this point in time, I'm going to give floor to the students who currently are at TJ to share and give some more information about what you just saw in that awesome and exciting video.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany G, and I'm a senior at TJ. So beyond SGA, I'm heavily involved in the school swim team. So today I'll be talking to you about TJ sports. So as captain of the swim team, I make sure that the team is super spirited, and I know that plenty of other sports, all of them on this list actually, are also very spirited and very popular among students. And it really proves to show that TJ isn't just about academics and really great teachers, but also really great athletes and just well-rounded students. And it really helps students really kind of unwind and relax after a long day at school. A little bit more about me. I first heard about TJ was when my sister applied 9 years before me, and that's why I wanted to apply. And I come from Fairfax County, and I'm currently in the neuroscience research lab, and my project right now is a computational analysis of fMRI data of ADHD students and ADHD patients and schizophrenia patients. So that's a little bit about me. But yeah, I'd love to answer any questions you have about sports, student government, or the neuroscience lab, but specifically sports. I'll let Gerline take over.
Hi guys, can everyone hear me okay?
Sounds good, Gerline.
Okay, great. So my name is Gerline and I'm a senior at TJ. And I first heard about TJ when I was in 8th grade, and we had a like a admissions officer come and present about the school. And that was in September and the application was due in October. So definitely kind of a short notice. And a little bit about me and my time at TJ. So I am currently in the oceanography research lab. And funny story, actually, the night before we took the admissions test, TJ sent out a good luck video to everyone. And the video was filmed in the ocean lab. And I remember thinking like, oh, if I get into TJ, that's the lab I'm going to do. And now I'm doing that lab. So it's a really just amazing experience how it went full circle. And my project is about a disease called fibropapillomatosis in turtles. And it basically causes these really huge tumors on the turtles that cripple them. So we're trying to see if there's a correlation between something called phosphorus and the occurrence of fibropapillomatosis, because the disease is linked to eutrophication, which is partially driven by phosphorus. I'll pass it on to Iban.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Iban, and I am also a senior, part of the class of 2021 at TJ. I live in Fairfax County, and I first heard about TJ from my math teacher at my middle school, my algebra teacher. And she really was the one who helped me in applying. She got me like a book to prep for the test, and that's how I prepped and got into the school. And yeah, I'm part of the computer systems research lab at TJ, and I'm currently creating a machine learning model for snoring and sleep apnea detection. And I really am just so grateful for all the resources that TJ has given me in terms of STEM education and exploring these fields that I wouldn't have otherwise learned about, like computer science. And as you see here, this list of senior tech labs has fields from astronomy to biotechnology, neuroscience, oceanography, like Darlene was saying, physics, prototyping, this vast array of STEM fields where students have several resources to, pick a topic and explore research in that field for like, they do a project over the course of the year, and it's really a great learning experience. I'll pass it on to Dinan.
Hi everyone, my name is Dinan. I'm also a current senior at TJ right now. And some fun facts about me. I play soccer with TJ, and I am part of, I take German at TJ. It's my 5th year taking German because I started before TJ. But just to get into how I heard about TJ real quick. In elementary school, I had a couple of friends that knew about it. And I overheard them talking about it, and I was like, oh, like, what's that? Could you guys tell me more? And they told me that it was this really cool STEM school that you can apply to when you're in 8th grade. And so I ended up applying my 8th grade year, obviously. But so like I mentioned earlier, I'm part of the German community at TJ. I'm actually the proud German Honor Society president. It's like my favorite club there. I'm actually wearing my German Honor Society gear right now. But just to speak more broadly with regards to the languages at TJ, there's such a variety. And I really consider myself lucky because at a lot of other schools in the county, they don't offer as many languages. So as you can see on the slide, there's Chinese, French, German, biased, but I think German's the best, Japanese, Latin, Russian, and Spanish. And there's even some that you can take online. So the list isn't even limited to this. But no matter what language you're a part of, I know they all have their own distinct but very close-knit communities. I know for Latin, back when we were in school, every now and then they would march around the school with drums banging, and they would have this Latin chant that they would all say. It was interesting, but they definitely brought life to the school. All the languages do. A lot of the languages have their own exchange programs. I was part of my class's exchange program, which was really cool. I know the Russian program does the same. And yeah, I could speak about the language program at TJ forever, but it's really one of the perks about TJ. And I'll pass it on now.
Hi guys, so my name is, thank you. So my name is Zaim Qureshi. I'm class of 22. I'm the only one here from 22, so I have to represent. So we have about, 185 clubs at TJ, and we have something that's very unique to us called the 8th period. So as you know, students from all over, I personally come from Prince William, so staying after school and going to clubs sounds like a hassle. You have to go back and forth every day. So TJ was very smart in putting in an 8th period where during the school day you can visit your favorite clubs, which I'll get into right now. So as I said before, there's really a lot of clubs at TJ that you'll be able to find your interest in, and you're able to join these tight-knit communities. Personally, for me, I'm interested in cybersecurity, so I joined a club named Cyber Patriot, and through there I was able to meet some of my best friends. So in these clubs, you're really going to be able to find your friends with similar interests. And speaking about the clubs, I'll just read off some random clubs for you guys. We have Asian Awareness Club, Future Problem Solving, Poetry Out Loud, Quiz Bowl, Rocketry Club. So it's really clubs of all different types of topics. You have clubs that celebrate culture, clubs that celebrate certain sciences or dive into certain sciences. And even though we're a STEM school, we have so many clubs. Personally, I go to philosophy club that they go beyond just STEM. They go into the humanities, which I find very, very nice, especially since we all go there for STEM, but really we like to dive into all different topics.
Thank you so much, current students, for sharing. And please stick around. We'll have questions from parents about transportation, your experiences, and things like that. So that'll come towards the end. We're now going to go to our next part of the presentation. So the TJ diploma is an advanced studies diploma of 26 credits, not counting the minimum Algebra 1 component that students have to have prior to attending TJ. Just want to note that question often asked is what kind of advanced placement courses are offered. So here you'll see a list of many advanced placement courses that are offered, all of them that are offered. And note that students take a lot of these courses at TJ and really take advantage of the learning opportunities that are available through them. TJ also has post-advanced placement courses offered. These are courses that require having matriculated and completed one of these successfully. A question that's often asked as well is, where do kids go to college after TJ? Well, TJ has a 99% admittance rate or attendance rate to college, to a four-year university. And here you'll see a list of the most common, not most common, but most popular universities that are chosen destinations after graduation. All right, so we've been getting a lot of questions in the chat, and I think a lot of parents are interested in this part, which is what is the current application process? So the key thing to know is that the current application process has changed from last year. And the key changes are, number one, that there is not anymore a $100 application fee. I want to thank the superintendent and the school board, as well as TJ Admissions and our alumni group, for really helping to push that forward and making it available and accessible to all. There is not a standardized test any longer. The standardized test has been removed from the application process. There is a two-part student portrait sheet and a problem-solving essay test that will be administered once you have registered for the application process. A minimum throughout the county is you must have a 3.5 cumulative core GPA that is of your core classes from 7th grade, as well as your first quarter in 8th grade. You must be in an Algebra 1 honors in 8th grade. Now, a key point to note is that Algebra 1 honors may not be available in your county. There are waivers that are available if your county doesn't offer it. The same goes for the additional enrollment in science honors courses, as well as one additional honors course or the identification of a young scholar. To be eligible to apply to TJ, you also have to be residing in Fairfax, Loudoun, Prince William, Arlington, or the cities of Falls Church and Fairfax. And a key point to note is that there are buses that are provided to attend the school And in terms of after school activities, we'll hear some more from the TJ administration regarding that towards the Q&A. So I just want to briefly touch on, again, what will happen. So currently the application is open. The application closes, so you can initiate an application as late as February 24th. You must submit it and complete it by February 26th. I'll talk a little bit more about that timeline later. But just in particular, what TJ Admissions is looking for in its Portrait of a Graduate Student sheet is they're looking for collaborators, students who are communicators, students who are creative and critical thinkers, ethical and global citizens, students that are goal-directed and resilient individuals, students that are innovators, leaders, and problem solvers. That's the key. That's what they're looking for. And just know that we are not aware of currently what the character or time limits are. Those are to be determined. Additionally, there is a problem-solving essay, and it's going to cover math or science content. That content will have a solution that takes multiple variable steps. The applicant must be able to demonstrate not only, how they've resolved it, why they resolved it, and be able to justify it in a written essay format. As I mentioned, the timeline. So this is, again, the application has already been open February 1st at 8 a.m. And the last time to be able to submit a started application is February 24th at 4 p.m. Please do not delay long. Do it as soon as you can, because there is a validation process that the school has to do to confirm your enrollment in the key requirement courses or to ascertain the necessary waivers. There's also a process in which the parent has to be referred by the student to create an account to then be able to confirm a payment of $0. And all of that has to be completed before the 26th at 4 p.m. And that confirmation of payment can only happen after the classes have been validated by the school system. So please, again, do not delay. This first part of the application is just a registration of intent. There are no essays currently yet. All of that will happen. The first date is March 15th, the time to be determined. And if there's need for accommodation, on April 12th. So please, this is the timeline for the current application process. And this is for the freshman class year, not indicative of what the process will be like for the Froshmores. So that brings us to our panel. And again, in our panel, we have Eban Ebsa, Dinan El Sayad, Tiffany G, Glenn Kaur, Zareem Qureshi, Rushil Sidhu, he had to leave early. And then we have alumni that are available, Malaika Ade, Dr. Andrew Hayes, Dr. Maria Murray, and myself. So at this point in time, I'll stop the screen share, and that'll give us an opportunity to see the panelists answering the question.
Okay, thank you everybody for speaking, preparing, and all the contributions to making today happen. We got a lot of questions related to transportation, especially from outside the county. So could any of our panelists throw some light on that?
Yeah, I could talk about just from a Prince William County perspective, because I already saw like one question about it. I was actually answering it right now. But yeah, so for Prince William County, they do provide buses, I know, to the students' neighborhood, and then from there, obviously, they go around to like similar neighborhoods, and then they all convene into one bus and go to TJ. And you should never be worried about like missing school. Like they always get there on time. Especially like they get there early actually. So you'll be there early to talk to your friends. So transportation shouldn't be an issue if you're thinking about going to TJ.
I just want to add to Zaim's comment there that some of my best friends at TJ I made on our bus route. It was a great time to be able to study It was a great time to be able to socialize. You had guaranteed social time with your friends, which is such a key part of growing up. So they were a little longer than normal, but they were really fun.
Oh, go ahead.
You can go, Tiffany. No, you're good.
Okay. To kind of speak to the Fairfax perspective, I live in the Carson Pyramid, so my drive is around like 40 minutes a typical morning, and I enjoyed the bus rides a lot, like Jorge said. It's also a chance to sleep and do some last-minute homework, to be honest. And yeah, they're definitely manageable, and you get used to them. And also a lot of people carpool. So if you have neighbors, then.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that really quickly. It is nice if your bus stop brings you straight to your neighborhood, but that's not always the case. For me personally, I had to go to a middle school nearby. That being said, there were days my mom couldn't pick me up, other days, other people on my bus, they couldn't get picked up. But again, you form really close connections with the people that you do ride with because you're with them for so long. And so it was absolutely no problem. For some days, my parents drove my friends home. Sometimes they drove me home. So, yeah.
Okay, we're also getting specifically a lot of questions about Prince William County transportation. Dr. B, could you add a little bit about how transportation works from Prince William?
Sure, transportation works similarly with all of our sending jurisdictions. It is first of all, the sending jurisdictions, Prince William, Loudoun, Arlington, and so forth, they provide the transportation. And a depot model is used most often. So what happens is that the transportation departments gather information about addresses, try to find centralized types of locations that can be relatively convenient for parents and families. And then students pick up those buses at those depot locations. But all sending jurisdictions provide transportation.
Okay, Ms. Wesselhoft, do you have anything that you wanted to add to that, since Prince William's your jurisdiction?
She said it right. That's exactly it. So we do, just like we would for our specialty programs, we do express bus stops. So they find a location that's closest to a big clump of students, and then they take them all at one time. So traditionally for us, there are middle schools, elementary schools, and or community rec centers where those locations are. If you're lucky, it might be close to your house, but usually they try to keep it within a couple of miles if they can. But the answer that was given is exactly right. So we do work with all of our students. And once we get a list of who's going to go to TJ, we then try to make it as convenient as possible, because we do want you guys to be able to attend and to be able to participate in all activities.
Okay, thank you very much. We've been also asked about payment issues, particularly why there seems to be a $0 payment, perhaps. Mr. Shugart, can you speak to that?
Sure. So I know there's a couple questions that came into the chat about the payments and submission of applications. The zero fee was something that was waived this year. Previously, it was a $100 fee in the application process. It's a validation point that we need students and families to go through. This is a validation point that can only be completed by the parent account. However, you must wait until the math has been verified by the school. So some students are trying to process their application prior to the math verification step. And if you have not received an email saying that your math's been verified, you know that that's the step in which you want that you're currently waiting at. We ask that you give your counselor at your school 24 to 48 hours to complete this. And then certainly if it's beyond that time frame, is to reach out to your counselor and just inquire about some support, so that way they can validate your current math enrollment. I know that there was another question that was come up, and I'll just jump to it that is coming up about the testing on March 15th. So the March 15th test, we haven't set the exact start time, but it will be in the morning. And we don't have the exact length of time because we're still working through some of the technical pieces, because it will be a virtual administered exam. So you're not coming to a test site or a test center due to the ongoing impact that COVID was having at the time when we had to set forth our schedule. So it will be a virtual administration. The SIS, or what is actually now called the student portrait sheet, is really a series of short answer questions for students to be able to complete. It's a typed or a typed up response. In the same way for the problem solving essay. You're presented with a math science-based problem with multiple variables in which you have to solve and respond in an essay format. And again, there will be a timed element to this, but it'll be on the morning of March 15th.
We've gotten a lot of questions on what is actually a student information sheet or a student portrait. Could we get any more detail on that?
So the student portrait sheet is measuring the attributes of 21st century skills and the portrait of a graduate from Fairfax County. On our admissions website, we list the actual 8 criteria or characteristics. I think they were listed previously in the presentation as well. Such as collaboration, leadership, inspiration, I believe was one of them, things of that nature. So there was a number of different terms that are really there. And so what will be presented in terms of what's there is you'll be presented with a topic, a question, if you will, where you'll need to respond to that particular topic or question that's posed to you. There will be character counts. And I'll give you what historically the character count was, as I imagine it'll be something similar. It'll be around 1,650 characters, so around 1,500 characters, something of that nature will be what you're looking at for the student portrait sheet for each individual question. That the character count itself counts spaces and punctuation along with the actual typed characters. So all of those are all part of that process. Our problem-solving essay was 3,700 characters in previous years, and I expect that that'll stay the same for this year as well, so that way a student will be able to respond to the best of their ability. So again, you'll have some time, you'll be able to take some notes onto some scratch paper and be able to transfer your information into the actual computer systems where you're entering your text and your responses for those questions. In terms of specific questions, we don't release those ahead of time. So the information, the topics that we provide on our website is the most that we can provide to you from an aspect of how to prepare. Quite simply is just think about how to respond to those types of things, start to consider that information and how you would reflect on that. There is a link on our website to more information about Portrait of a Graduate questions on Fairfax County's public webpage. So it does provide a little bit more information. And I can see that the slide has been pulled up so you can see those topics presented here. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for showing us the student portrait sheet and this.
Oh, Andrew, I'm going to take a second just in our slide, I put show your star. And honestly, I don't know or have any unique insight as to what the question may be like, what the prompt will be like. I just want to share an experience that I've learned in my professional experience. My professional experience has taught me that you need to look for specific situations, tasks, and actions that you took that led to certain results. And that's what the STAR model is. I encourage you to talk with your child and again, use that model, specific situations or tasks and actions that they took that led to results, and have them just think about themselves and how they exemplify these different 21st century skills that the TJ admissions process is looking for.
Okay, I'd like to give Mr. Shugart a break here, and let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the student experience. We've gotten questions on what is IBEL, what is class structure day to day, what is the workload like, what's the stress like, how much homework do you get? So I guess this is a good question for present students. Yeah, thank you. Zaim, I think you're the youngest of our student panelists. So if you want to start, and then we can move from you to the class of 21ers.
Sorry, I was answering a question, just the workload, right?
Workload, IBEL, stress, generally the student experience. There are lots and lots of questions of various themes.
Yeah, I think at TJ, it's really like they really focus on just teaching you how to like think about problems instead of just, you know, doing this one way. So the teachers really spend a lot of time with you and help make sure that you understand topics. And there's like, I can't even name how many support groups there are for your education. You know, there's, I'm currently tutoring someone for AP Computer Science, and I'm currently getting tutored for physics. So, you know, there's student tutoring, and there's obviously, as I said, for an 8th period, they also have study halls where you can go to teachers. It doesn't even have to be the teacher who you have class with. Go to any teacher, and then you can ask them questions about topics. And they really provide a strong support group for you to make sure you do the best in whatever classes you're taking.
I feel like the key to how stressful TJ is going to be for you has a lot to do with it's really important for you to take classes that you're genuinely interested in, which isn't hard because TJ has such a wide variety of courses. For example, I opted to take AP Chem and AP Bio at the same time my sophomore year. Was it difficult? Yes. Were there times where I had to stay up late because I had a lot of homework I had to do? Sure, but it was ultimately things that I was genuinely interested in, which made it worth it in the end. Whereas when I hear my friends that are more on the CS side, computer science, I hear them spending like an hour or two or more working on code. That sounds really stressful for me, but I'm not into CS. My friends that do that genuinely love CS, so it's not something that they it does get stressful is what I'm trying to say, but it's also important to remember that having a heavy workload and a lot of work isn't necessarily a TJ thing. I think high school in general, sometimes you're just going to have late nights where you're stressing a lot with homework. But definitely the opportunities that TJ has here, along with the support networks that Dean was talking about, they really, they make it worth it.
Any other present students want to add to that?
I can add. Oh,
Okay, go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with what Dee Dee is saying. But I also think TJ, like, it prepares you really well for college and beyond. I hear from a lot of my like older friends that they feel that the transition to college workload is not as bad, and hopefully that'll be that way next year when we're all in college. And yeah, I do think that I've developed a lot more critical thinking skills, and that the work we're doing is like productive, and it's not just busy work and something to meet a requirement, but I'm actually learning like applicable skills like MATLAB, coding, things that are like employable even, I guess, in the real world. But yeah, there's a lot of value in what we're learning, and as long as students are interested, then it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with everything that everyone's before me said. I think that TJ, even though it can be stressful at times, like the workload can be a lot and you might stay up, I also think that the content that we learn is very interesting. And as Zane was saying, if you're struggling with something, as long as you have a mindset that you can reach out to someone and you're not afraid to ask for help, you'll be fine, because all the teachers at TJ are very, very supportive, and they will, if you reach out to a teacher, you'll definitely find someone who can help you in understanding a concept. We have several peer tutoring programs that can help you. You just have to be willing to, step up and say, hey, I need help, and you'll get the help that you need, because TJ has many, many resources.
Just a really quick story, if it's okay, just to like really show how much teachers do care. My junior year, for AP US history, I was getting straight C's on all the quizzes and tests. I was not doing well. And part of the homework was that you had to take written notes that you would turn into the teacher for a grade. And I went and talked to her and I was like, this is not working for me. Like, please, can we find an alternative? And what we ended up doing was I would actually record my notes on, like I would talk into my phone as my notes. And so she modified the assignment for me from then on for the rest of the year. Rather than having to handwrite my notes, I got to speak them in, and my grades got better throughout the year. And she was just so supportive. So teachers really do care.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I kind of want to point out is that even though TJ is known for being really difficult and very rigorous, and it is very rigorous and difficult, in a way, things are actually a lot easier than they can be at some high schools, because everything is kind of handed to you, like internship opportunities and extracurricular activities are extremely accessible. And there's a ton of information and a lot of resources on how to apply for them. And the same thing with college applications, like you have so much support available. And like any opportunity that you want, people at TJ will find a way to give it to you, like any opportunity. And that's not something that you can find at a lot of other schools. So it's definitely a major privilege. And I think that's why, in a way, TJ can actually, in some forms, be easier than other schools.
Okay. So we have several questions about eligibility from outside the county. For instance, I'm a Loudoun County student. In my school for math, we don't have Algebra 1, only honors Algebra 1. We only have Math 8, Algebra 1, and Geometry. Am I eligible to apply to TJ? And Wendy King, can you answer that for us?
Yes, I'm happy to answer that. First of all, I do want to tell any student who is interested in applying from Loudoun County that we have spent a lot of time talking with school counselors. So there is a lead school counselor at your school. So if you have questions, you can talk to them. You can also contact the Gifted Education Office. We are here to help you as well. So we want to make sure that you know who to reach out to if you have questions, in addition to obviously the TJ admissions office. But yes, for this year, there is the waiver. So Algebra 1 will count, and we will take that into consideration for next year. Because I know that there are probably 7th grade students thinking about their course selection process right now. So we will certainly, make sure that in our planning at the district level, we realize that that Algebra 1 honors is a requirement in the future.
Okay. Would the other county representatives have anything to add to that?
Andrew, can I just step in here for a moment?
Sure, go ahead.
So in terms of the honors level requirements and the differences between not only public schools, but also private schools. There are certainly waivers that have been offered as well as already applied within the process. And so we've been working from an admissions standpoint. We've been working with each of our participating school divisions to find out what offers and opportunities they provide to their public school students in each of their middle schools. And so for this year, the honors portion of that has been basically for our students grandfathered. So you're not required, if you're currently listening to this evening and this is the first time you're hearing, or you're still not sure what you want to do, but you're concerned that you may not meet that particular qualification, you don't need to go change your class for this year. So you can still stay enrolled in Algebra 1 without being in the honors portion of that and be eligible to apply and go through that process. For those 7th graders, again, it depends on what's available within the counties, and more information will be provided at a later point in time based upon what waivers will be available on a broader scale for those honors, depending upon what school division, whether that's a private or public school student, homeschooled student even. So there's many different pieces of information that have to be communicated out for the future years. But based on the key eligibility summary that's been shared here on the screen, that's our baseline of which to start from as we work forward. And what I would say, what I would share is I've seen a number of very personal types of questions about the individual student applications in the question and answer section. And I really encourage you to reach out to the admissions office directly about your very personal or very specific question in regards to the application that may be in some status that has not been completed and you're needing support. So please reach out to the admissions office specifically to be able to provide that support, because we can actually look at the application and find out where the problem may exist and be able to help walk you through the remaining steps and provide that support. Thanks.
Jeremy, while you're there.
Andrew, sorry, I apologize. I wanted to ask a question on behalf that I've been receiving from parents as I do my outreach. And in particular, it's about the 1.5% allotment per middle school. If that's 1.5% of the class of 8th graders, or if it's 1.5% of those that apply. So let me just say there's middle school A has 800 students. Is that 1.5% guarantee spots? Is that 12 students? Or if only 200 students apply, is that 3 students? That's
Sure.
a question that I've been asked.
Sure, Jorge. So there's 2 pieces here. So the 1.5% is based upon 8th grade population. So that's what establishes the number for each school. So in the model that you just shared of 800 students, it's 1.5% of 800 students in 8th grade of that particular public school. So then we're not predetermining who those 1.5 are. So we don't go to the school and identify the 1.5 at the middle school. What that does is that just establishes the number that what we're going to use for what we're calling seat allocations. Then the students are going to go through the application process, and all students are going to receive one of 3 admissions decisions. They're either going to receive an offer, a weight pool offer, not going to receive an offer based upon the strength and how they perform in the holistic review of their application, which includes the elements that we're talking about here in terms of GPA, student portrait sheet, problem solving essay, and one of the things, I don't know if it was mentioned on here, but it was the experience factors as well that we're applying to some students. After we do our holistic review of the students' applications, they're going to be determined whether they meet those criteria to move forward within the process. So what's going to happen is that we're going to offer students, we have 550 seats that we're looking to fill, and the allocated seats are providing us with an opportunity to provide some proportional opportunities to schools that have been historically underrepresented, and providing them with a number of seats based upon that 1.5%. So we'll offer those students. But beyond that, we also, for those students who are not attending a public school, we also have unallocated seats, meaning there are seats that are still available within the application process that is open for any and all students. In addition to that, it's not, the 1.5 is not a limiting basis for our public schools. It doesn't mean that you are only limited to the number of seats that equate to the 1.5% of your 8th grade student population. And then there's also the students that are placed in the wait pool. Now the wait pool is intentionally designed for a process where we're offering large number of students an opportunity to attend TJ, and some students may choose to decline that offer. And we want to be able to provide that opportunity to another student who is highly qualified, and we'll provide that through the wait pool opportunity after this. One of the other pieces that was not included in the timeline that was presented earlier was the admissions decisions. At this point in time, we're anticipating that we'll be able to release our decisions in June. And that's significantly different than what we've been able to do in previous years, where that was typically in an April timeframe. And that's due to us not starting the application process until February. And so unfortunately, we won't be able to release the decisions in that April timeframe as we've done in previous years. But we do expect to be able to do that in the June timeframe for this application year.
Thank you. And one question about the portrait sheet as well as the problem solving essay. Parents have been asking, can their children use Grammarly or their computers spell check, and what kind of tools are they allowed to use for that portion of the application process?
So that's a great question, and the answer is you need to use what's provided within the application system, the program that we have available. It is still considered a test, I guess, in this vein, because it's virtually administered. It's a take-home test. We're not necessarily and the same as it's been in previous years, we're not necessarily looking for the perfect grammar, because we know that you had a limited time to be able to answer the question that was just posed to you with a very short period of time. But more information, I know there was a number of questions, but more information is going to come out to the students who are in the application process at the end of the application window, which will provide us or provide the applicants with information about time, schedule. We're working to have a sample where students can log in to see what the mechanics of the system looks like ahead of time. And so that more information will come and be provided to the students here in the next couple of weeks.
So how are snow days handled for TJ with each county making its own call? Rebecca, could you answer this one for us?
Hi, this is Rebecca. I actually am not sure I know the answer to this question. I apologize. Is anybody else on the panel able to answer that?
This is Ann Bonitatibus. I'll answer that. All students who attend TJ follow whatever the operating status is for FCPS. So if Loudoun County closes, but FCPS remains open or on a 2-hour delay, then Loudoun County students would still have to attend TJ. One particular item of note is that depending on the operating status of some sending jurisdictions, there can be times when Loudoun County could be closed, and when Loudoun County is closed, they would not run their buses. Therefore, parents either could provide transportation to bring their students to TJ if TJ is open, if FCPS is open, or that it can be an excused day of absence for the student. Now with our online and virtual environment, there may be some other kinds of possibilities that we can explore in the future, but that isn't something we have plans for yet.
Okay, thanks very much. While we're talking about transportation, we're still getting questions about after-school activities, especially for out-of-county students. So for after-school activities, Are there late buses to Prince William and Loudoun? Karima, Rebecca, and or Wendy? I guess start with Karima.
Here I am. So I think that I wish I knew that answer completely, and unfortunately I don't. I do believe that we do offer some activity buses, but I would have to check into that for you guys. I will give you guys my email address before we get out of here. If anyone wants to email me, Prince William County. Fair warning, my email is down right now, but hopefully we'll be up by Thursday.
Okay.
Andrew, sorry, I wanted to give the students maybe an opportunity to share if they've done late buses. How was that? How were their individual experiences? How late did they get home? How often was the late bus offered to them while they were utilizing them?
I can try and answer. So TJ, for the 8th period activities, we don't require any late buses because 8th periods are integrated into the school day. So everyone will leave at the same time at 4 p.m. Late bus is the only time I remember riding late bus was for after school sports. So I played softball in my freshman and sophomore years, and sometimes I would ride the late bus, and there was no problem with that really, just like riding a regular bus.
Okay, an important issue. Here's the question. My son has applied and is an eligible student with a disability. I am concerned that there are not many special education staff members. I want to make sure that if you really wish to better represent special education students, that there has been budgeting to increase the special education staff as may be necessary. Please help me understand how TJ will be inclusive of my child. Dr. B, can you talk about including students with disabilities?
Sure. We are very supportive of our twice exceptional children, and we work in the same way that all other FCPS schools do. We receive staffing based on enrollment. So based on the enrollment of students needing specialized services, we get the funding accordingly and the staffing accordingly. We have IEP teams who meet, they develop appropriate goals and objectives and work with teachers to implement the accommodations and then measure the progress toward the goals. And so it really is a full complement of services for those students who require special education support, English as a second language support, or 504 plans and health plans. We just make sure that all those plans are developed and monitored.
I'm going to jump in here also and encourage the questioner to access the Twice Exceptional Handbook that's on the Fairfax County Public School website. So not just for TJ, but it applies to all Fairfax County Public Schools. And it's really a guidebook for services and to advocate for your child. And we also have several Twice Exceptional trainings that staff members are accessing. These trainings are all relatively new, but like I said, it's not just TJ, but the entire county has embraced and supported learning opportunities for 2E students who are both advanced academics and may have a disability. And I'd be happy to answer further questions about that if you wanted to send me an email. We actually have a specialist in our office that works on 2E issues.
Okay, we haven't heard much from our alumni panelists, so we have had some questions about transitioning to college and later in life. I think you guys would be perfect to answer that. So, was college a step up or step down? And are there good medical offerings from the school? Malika, you want to start?
Sure. I can't necessarily speak to the medical offerings. But I would say that I think kind of similar to what one of the current students said, whether or not you consider college a step up or step down really depends on like what you want your course load to be and how much you want to challenge yourself in college. I would say that no matter what, I'd say that TJ prepares you very well for the transition to college. First of all, in terms of the academic challenges that you'll receive during your time at TJ, also even just from like learning how to work in teams and cultivating those real world skills that were also mentioned earlier. I definitely think that TJ prepares you no matter what field you go in. So that includes the medical fields. Like quite a bit of my friends are doctors now, but that can also include other fields. Like for example, I decided to go into finance. So I think it's a matter of what you make of your experiences, but no matter what, there's something that can help you prepare for your journey in college from what you'll learn at TJ.
As an alumnus myself, I also kind of wanted to take a crack at this. I went to UVA, go Hoos, and I definitely felt like even UVA, number one or number two public school in the country, was a relaxation after Jefferson. I was so well prepared for a lot of my classes that I didn't take any 100 level classes in college. I went straight to 200 level everything. So you are extremely well prepared. The course load is for colleges absolutely doable. And like Malika said, like half of my friends became doctors. So certainly there are a lot of medical offerings. When I was a student, biotech was the most popular senior tech lab. A large fraction of the class did projects in bio. So I know it's a popular career path for lots and lots of TJ students.
I'd also like to jump in and just add that as a Prince George's County transplant to Prince William County, TJ really helped me develop the study habits and the time management skills that to me are the most challenging part of a collegiate experience. And so I actually chose to attend an HBCU, a historically Black college university, Florida A&M, along with 3 of my classmates from TJ. And we essentially had the academics portion down. We had the time management down. So it was really great being able to learn how to balance our time management before we hit the party scene. And had developed that self-discipline ahead of time. Another thing that I would say is, as an HBCU graduate, there was a class of 99 graduate who also attended Florida A&M University and had got accepted to an early pre-med program that was in partnership with University of Florida. So she did 2 years at Florida A&M and then transferred to University of Florida. And she has, I think, 2 locations of a pediatric practice down in Orlando, Florida now. So TJ definitely prepares you, but it's more about developing the skills and habits that will make you successful in college and beyond.
Makia, was that Janelle?
Yes, it was Janelle Haynes, your locker mate.
Yes. So just how small a world and how long TJ connections last. The person that Makia just told a story about was the person who had the locker right next to mine. Andrew Hayes, Janelle Haynes we were locker buddies. So yeah, that's just how small a world it is.
I just wanted to jump in and say that, Fairfax County is a great school system and offers a lot of great opportunities. So does Prince William and Loudoun. And so we want to encourage parents and their students to apply, give it an opportunity, try if you meet the minimum eligibility requirements. And then, whether you get into TJ or not, please don't feel like that's the end all be all. You know, even in TJ, not just people who are 100% science and technology go to, like we have comedians that have, we have editors in chief at the New York Times. We have all types of alumni that have come out of TJ. And, but the, you know, the schooling that it offers is a great opportunity though.
Yeah, nationally prominent comedians, journalists, politicos. I think one of our more recent graduates was a campaign organizer, something for one of the major candidates. So speaking of non-STEM things that TJ kids do, I think Dee Dee wanted to talk about her experience in band and orchestra. So music and fine arts. Dee Dee?
Hi, I can definitely do that. I'm wearing my German hoodie, but I also have my orchestra hoodie. That is somewhere, I don't know where it is. But I'm part of the orchestra community at TJ. Honestly, unfortunately, not as, I guess the best way to describe it is that a lot of times people will sign up for orchestra their freshman year, but then feel like it's not possible to keep it into their schedule. They want to take other APs or things like that. So oftentimes orchestra or band does get dropped. I just do want to emphasize that it's very possible to complete all your graduate requirements and also squeeze in orchestra and or band all 4 years. But ultimately, the group that results are a group of very passionate, inspiring people that really care about band and orchestra. To speak to orchestra specifically, because that's what I know about, we have annual events every single year, or multiple throughout the year that are really engaging. We engage the whole school as a whole. We have a very famous pie sale every single year that sells out in like 10 minutes because everyone loves their pie. We also host dances, the Viennese ball. It's very fancy. You come in elegant clothes. There's shrimp and other fancy little foods that you eat for the night. I also know that every single year, both band and orchestra partner up to go to some really cool field trip. When I went my freshman year, we went to Chicago. I think my sophomore year, I didn't go on this field trip, but they went to Disney World. Don't know where they went last year, but it's amazing places. Miss Bailey, the orchestra teacher, is phenomenal. They're really there for you, not even just for music, but also just as support networks when you need them. And it's just a really nourishing community to be part of.
Yeah, I would say I took band 1 year, so that was great. But I have a lot of friends who did orchestra in high school, and now, like 14 years later, they're still friends and love to talk about orchestra. And they had Miss Bailey as well, which I know even though I wasn't there. So definitely there's, especially with the 8th period structure, there's plenty of room to really focus on your interests apart from strictly academics and again, outside of STEM as well, if you want.
Adding on to that, I took band in my freshman year and I couldn't fit it to my schedule afterwards, but there are definitely opportunities outside of school. For example, there was marching band, and also we have like a choir 8th period. And one thing that I found interesting that TJ students will do is if they have an interest in arts, sometimes students will combine their interest for STEM and arts. So for example, there's this one TJ student who was in the prototyping senior research lab, and she prototyped a ukulele tuner. So it was really combining like electronics with music theory, and lots of students will develop these interdisciplinary projects that allow them to explore not only STEM, but also arts. So there's definitely lots of opportunities.
Okay, we have a scheduling issue. Apparently in Loudoun County, the SOL is the same day as the admissions portion. So Mr. Shugart, can you address that conflict there?
Absolutely. So I know we've been informed that a number of schools in Loudoun are offering a portion of their SOL writing exam on March 15th as well. However, there are makeup days that are available for the SOLs. And so that's what we've been informed is the best route for you to reach out to your school, perhaps your counselor, or perhaps your English teacher, and just get, and find out what you need to do to register for the makeup date for the SOL, so that way it's not a conflict.
Okay. There was several other questions also about admissions. So what is the class size? How many applicants do you anticipate? And what's the acceptance rate?
So, one of the things is that's changed this year. So this year we expanded our freshman class from 480 to 550. So that's an increase of 70 students. Traditionally in the past, we had about 3,000 applicants, anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 applicants. And we were accepting approximately 480 students. That's about a 1 in 5 to 1 in 6, depending upon the number of applicants, type of rate. We're still in the middle of the application window, so I really don't know what the final number would be. What I can say is that it looks like we're on target to be more than 3,000 applicants this year. And so again, we're at 550. If it's, you can do the math depending upon the number of applicants that we have to what that acceptance rate will be. But if it's 4,000, you're talking about 500 students accepted out of 4,000 applicants. That's about a 1 in 8 student ratio, if those happen to be the numbers. And again, that's very loose, but that seems to be pretty consistent to what it was in previous years. But I don't know where the end number will be because the application window is open through next week.
And just to that, I want to add again, please do not start an application. Do not wait to start until after February 24th at 4 p.m. Get those applications in before that date. Ideally, get them in this week, maybe next Monday, Tuesday. Set that up as your deadline, please. Thank you.
I can't echo Jorge strongly enough. The deadline to start the application is 4 p.m. next Wednesday. So you certainly want to make sure that you get that process started. And for anyone that's having a problem with your application, please reach out to us or reach out to your counselor at your school. In everyone's school, we have a counselor that is supporting the students at their school, so that way they can make sure that they go through that process and don't have any problems. And so if you or your parent is having a problem, either 1, finding the application, or 2, at some phase within it, I know I'm repeating myself from pre-4, but please reach out to us for any help and support. And you can reach us. The number was posted in the chat there, but certainly communicate with us so that way we can support you.
From the students, we're getting people asking about how much fun do you have? Is it a regular high school? Do you enjoy your time there? Or what do you do? We'd love to hear from the students.
Well, every student at TJ, almost everyone has a lot of fun, and I wouldn't go back and go to a regular high school for the world, honestly. TJ, it has a lot more academic opportunities, but also social opportunities as well. So we have this really special event called Homecoming, but we do it a special way. There's a whole week full of events, and we have I-Night, this big dance performance. And personally, I find that I've had time to just hang out with my friends outside of school, and just TJ is really special because there's a lot of camaraderie among students. We're kind of all in the struggle together. So yeah, I find I have a lot of fun at school.
I'm getting like emotional thinking about it because as seniors, you like can't go back. But yeah, there's been a lot of times where TJ's been absolutely like amazing. One unique thing about TJ is that all students eat lunch at the same time and you're not confined to just the cafeteria, you eat everywhere. So I've like eaten sprawled out in front of the school where the couches are. I've sat outside. I remember once, so there's this beautiful courtyard in the middle of the school. Usually it's open in the fall and in the spring, usually closed during the winter. There was this one day where it snowed outside and the doors were open. Not really sure if I should be saying this, but my friends went outside and we had like there was a safe snowball fight for like 2 minutes. And then they also put together a snowman, like a really small snowman on the table. And I remember that really fondly. And also TJ doesn't have lockers. We have cubbies, which means like next to just any room all across the school, there's a cubby you can just throw your stuff in. There's not a concern for anyone stealing your stuff or anything like that. But it's just like throwing your stuff next to your, the cubby next to your friend right before class and like giving them a surprise hug or something, and seeing friends while you're walking around and yelling across the hall saying hi or something. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of small stuff, honestly, about TJ that it was a good 4 years. Like I said, don't necessarily think I'll be going back, but there's a lot of stuff to look back on and be happy for.
And I'm going to dive in and just brag a little bit because Dee Dee got accepted to both Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University and Harvard University, and has a very tough decision to make, but college is a very, very...
University of Virginia.
Wahoo, wow.
But college is a very personal choice, and no matter what high school you'll go to, I'm sure you will all get into the college of your dreams.
Yeah, I want to say I know I'm not a student anymore by a long shot, but just like looking back now after a long time, you know, it's not, when I think about my experience at TJ, I'm not thinking of like, oh yeah, I got an A on this physics test or anything. Like it really is, what really sticks out is the events like Tiffany mentioned, like homecoming or all of the different even sports events or I-Night. So I definitely say I remember having a lot of fun even now when I was in high school. And I'm not sure how much, if this is as common across other high schools. A lot of people I know don't say this, but again, I'm still friends now it's going on like 17 years with some of the people that I met in my first days at TJ. So it's definitely a great place to build strong connections, partially because of how stressful it can be, but also because there are a lot of outlets to just have fun and still enjoy being a teenager.
Well, if Malika gets to reminisce, then I do too. I'm coming up on a birthday that ends in 0, which is terribly disturbing. But despite my advancing years, my 4 years at Jefferson were the best 4 of my life, bar none, period.
So I would say it's been a wonderful night. And I firstly just want to thank, number one, the students for taking their time, their busy schedules, their academic schedules, their life schedules, taking their time and their initiative to be able to share their experiences, especially with the audience that we intended, to be able to reach out and help improve the attendance from underrepresented communities. I also want to thank the administrators who made their time, again, taking away from their families to be able to share the knowledge and expertise and to be able to answer so many questions. We have answered over 361 questions as a team. I'm so proud to be part of this organization that is volunteering their time, their efforts to help the community. So proud of that. Want to thank everyone. We put a lot of links in the chat. Hopefully you were able to see them or in the answers as well. Again, we are the TJ Alumni Action Group, tjaag.org. We thank all our community for the support. Dr. B, thank you for being with us. the different administrators. I apologize, I don't have the slide up in front of me. My memory is going right now, but it's been a wonderful evening. Thank you. And again, this show, in terms of questions for the portrait essay and the problem solving essay, you know, Google search helps find some resources. Not everything has to be paid for. It just shows there's a strong demand of parents who are looking to help their child in their opportunity, and no one can fault them for that. But we appreciate the time you've spent with us, and we're glad to be of service. Thank you again, and y'all have a good evening.
Hey, Jorge, do you mind if I send one more link in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
So someone mentioned iNight just now. Don't know how we completely forgot to mention iNight. It's basically an international night, all the different clubs at TJ. Some of them are the cultural clubs, such as German Honor Society, or the ASL club at TJ hosts its own, or POI. If you guys know what POI is, it's a type of activity. They have their own little performance. Basically, all the clubs spend months preparing this performance that they put on for the whole school. And we typically go to George Mason University and we perform. The link that I'm posting is a YouTube link to a bunch of the different performances for last year. We didn't have one this year, but if you want to get a sense of what the community at TJ is like, that iNight is a very perfect example for that. So.
And can I just add in one more thing for PWCS students? I'm sorry I don't have her email right now, but she goes by the name Miss Bastion. She's very helpful for like PWCS students in the TJ admissions process. She tells you like, you know, what classes you need to take, and you know, she like works at the school as well. Like she's gotten all of her sons in, so she really knows how the environment in TJ. And if you have any questions about, you know, PWCS transition, you can contact her. I could probably contact the Alumni Action Organization, give her email to them if you have any questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and again, thank you for the interpreters. You guys had a busy night. Thank you, Ms. Linares, and the ASL interpreters. Very much appreciate that, and appreciate that service. Thank you. Everyone have a good evening.